so this one might make you not want to fish again. Subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you at the end. Enjoy. Rick and Dan had been best friends since childhood. Every summer they made it a tradition to spend a weekend fishing at Blackwater Lake. The secluded spot was perfect for relaxing, drinking a few beers, and sharing stories under the starlit sky. This year was no different, or so they thought. They arrived at the lake just as the sun began to set, casting an orange glow over the water. The air was cool and crisp, with a gentle breeze rippling the surface. Rick and Dan loaded their gear into the old rowboat, their laughter echoing across the tranquil expanse. As they paddled to their favorite spot, they marveled at the serene beauty of the lake. Remember last year when you nearly fell in trying to reel that big one? Dan chuckled, casting his line. Rick grinned. Yeah, and you were no help at all, just stood there laughing. The two friends settled into a comfortable rhythm, casting and reeling in silence. The quiet was soothing, a stark contrast to their busy lives in the city. They were lost in their thoughts when Rick felt a strong tug on his line. "Got something," he exclaimed, struggling to reel it in. Dan watched eagerly, expecting a big catch, but as Rick pulled the line, something felt off. The resistance was too strong, too forceful. "Need a hand?" Dan asked, moving closer. "Yeah, it's putting up one hell of a fight," Rick grunted. Together they worked to pull the line in. As it neared the boat, the water around them began to churn violently. "Whoa, what the hell?" Dan muttered, peering over the edge. The water frothed and bubbled, and a dark shape moved beneath the surface. Before they could react, something enormous surged up from the depths. The boat rocked violently, nearly capsizing. Rick and Dan clung to the sides, eyes wide with terror. The creature was unlike anything they'd ever seen, a massive serpentine form with glistening scales and glowing eyes. It let out a low, rumbling growl that reverberated through the air. "Rick, what is that?" Dan shouted, his voice trembling. "I don't know, but we need to get out of here," Rick yelled back, grabbing the oars. They paddled frantically, but the creature was relentless. It circled the boat, its massive tail thrashing the water into a frenzy. Suddenly, the creature lunged, its enormous jaws snapping just inches from the boat. The force of the attack sent them sprawling, and Rick lost his grip on the oars. They floated helplessly as the beast continued its assault. "Grab the emergency paddle!" Dan screamed, pointing to the small compartment at the bow. Rick scrambled to retrieve it, but the boat lurched again and he slipped, crashing into the side. The creature's eyes locked onto him, filled with an unsettling intelligence. Desperation fueled Rick's movements as he grabbed the paddle and tossed it to Dan. They paddled with all their strength, trying to distance themselves from the monster. But it was no use. The creature was faster, more powerful. In a final, desperate move, Rick reached for his tackle box and pulled out a flare gun. "Dan, keep paddling," he ordered, aiming at the beast. He fired, and the flare struck the creature's side, erupting in a burst of light and smoke. The monster let out a deafening roar, recoiling from the sudden pain. It thrashed wildly, its glowing eyes filled with rage. Rick fired again, and the creature finally retreated, diving back into the depths with a final furious splash. Breathing heavily, Rick and Dan paddled to shore, their bodies trembling with exhaustion and fear. They collapsed on the beach, staring out at the now calm lake. "What the hell was that?" Dan whispered, his voice barely audible. Rick shook his head, still gripping the flare gun. "I don't know, but we're never coming back here again." As they packed up their gear in silence, the lake returned to its deceptive tranquility. But they knew the truth. Beneath the surface, something monstrous awaited, biding its time until the next unwitting victim ventured too close. Yeah, I would not be fishing there again either. Subscribe if you have not already. Hit that like button for me and share anywhere and everywhere. It is much appreciated. And as always, my friends, I will see you on the dark side. Sweet nightmares.